Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today we've got the deck profile for the deck we took to Locals this past week, being TG. We got 4th place, which was way better than I expected. So, yeah, I mean, I will say we did get extremely lucky. That's probably why we got 4th, but hey, I'll take it. Here's a deck, or here's a look to what the deck looks like on paper, then we'll get to the card by card. Okay, so starting off with the monsters, first one is going to be TG Screw Serpent. I'm running 2 currently, but I think I'm going to bump this up to 3 because I was in a situation where I wanted to summon a 3rd one later on in the duel, but I was unable to because I didn't have one in my deck off the Salamander. So I think I am going to bump this to 3 in the future. But yeah, this is good. It helps set up your synchros by reviving one from the grave. So really good there. But yeah, so I think I'm going to bump that one up to 3. Next, 2 TG Jet Falcon. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that this guy was the MVP of the night, because he was the only reason I won the match against Branded Chimera. Because I was able to do burn damage in my main phase 1. And then time was called during his main phase 1 for game 3. And so I won due to the time rules. So yeah, that was really funny. Jet Falcon's definitely the MVP of the night. Next, 2 copies of TG Warwolf. Or excuse me, 3 copies of TG Warwolf. I think I said 2 by mistake. But this is actually at 3. This is just a good extender. When a level 4 lower monster is special summoned, you can special summon it from your hand. And this even counts if your opponent special summons a level 4 lower monster. So if you're going second, then you can just special summon this from your hand for free. And the special summon is not once per turn, because this is a 5Ds era card. So yeah, really nice extender there. Next, I am running 1 TG Metal Skeleton. You don't want to draw him. You want to send him to the graveyard with the new Synchro Tuner, Mighty Striker, because he can banish himself from the grave to protect your stuff from being destroyed. Next, running 2 Catapult Dragon. This is, of course, to counterpart with the 2 Jet Falcon, so you can make a level 5 Synchro, and one of the spell cards allows you to search 2 at a time, so that's why they're paired up. Like that. And then pairing up with Warwolf is 3 TG Striker. So this is just, it's basically Cyber Dragon. So good for getting started if you want to go into Trident Launcher, or if you want to make one of your Synchros. So it's really nice being able to just special summon it for free if you're going second. Next, 3 copies of TG Rocket Salamander. So this one's really nice for setting up your plays, whether you're going for Synchro or for the Trident Launcher. This one's really good for just establishing your board presence by getting whatever TGs you need, either from the deck or from your graveyard if you have a machine-type TG on your field. Next, I'm running 2 copies of TG Year Zombie. This one is just an extender, so you can get into your Trident Launcher if you need to, or you can get into your one of your level 5 Synchros if you need to. Next, 3 copies of TG Booster Raptor. Basically, it's a free special summon if you control a TG, so, you know, it'd be best to run 3 of that. And plus, it's a level 1, so you can use it for level 5 Synchros or for level 2 Synchros. So it's very versatile in the deck. Next, I am running 1 TG Drillfish. It's a free special summon that serves as spot removal. When a TG monster inflicts battle damage, you can target a monster that your opponent controls and destroy it, and he does have the ability to attack directly. So he's just a nice little spot removal. Next, I'm currently running 2 TG Tank Grub. But given the fact that we already have 3 non-tuner level 1s, being Drillfish, Booster Raptor, and the Rocket Salamander, I think I'm going to cut Tank Grub down to from 2 to 1 and put in a third Screw Serpent instead. So I think this is going to go to 1 for the third Screw Serpent. Because the other ones can either special summon themselves or special summon something else. This one only special summons something back if it's used as synchro material, so it's a little more situational, so I think Tank Grub's going to be cut down to 1 in order for a third Screw Serpent. So that's it for the monsters. Next, going into the spells, so we've got 1-for-1, Monster Reborn, Reasoning, and then 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. So 1-for-1 helps you get to Rocket Salamander very, very easy. Nice little star foil there. Monster Reborn just for extending Reasoning. They're all sorts of different levels. So it's, at worst, it's Ash Bait. It could be a Foolish Burial or a free special summon. So regardless, it's a win. And then Dark Ruler No More. This is for when you're going second. This helps to try to mitigate your opponent's established disruptions. So that way your cards like Trident Launcher or your Over Dragnar can actually resolve. I mean, it does kind of stink that your opponent doesn't take any damage, but if you're able to get one of your level 12 synchros, then so be it. You know, it's kind of a nice trade-off. Next, this is a card I alluded to earlier. We're running 3 copies of TG Limiter Removal. So by discarding a card, I can add 2 TG monsters with different names from my deck to my hand. So kind of how I alluded to earlier, you can add something like Striker plus Warwolf or Catapult Dragon and Jet Falcon for an instant level 5 synchro, depending on what's on the field. Alright, and then next, 3 copies of TG All Clear. So this makes all of your TG monsters on the field become machine-type monsters. This, of course, plays into Rocket Salamander's second effect, where it can revive something from the grave if you control machine-type TG monster. And then it also gives you a second normal summon of a TG, which is very nice for going into additional synchros, especially if your initial play gets interrupted by something like an Ash or an Imperm, which did happen. So that actually did come up. And then it also lets you destroy a TG from your field or your hand. And then you can search a different TG monster. So you can fix your hand, 2 normal summons, and facilitating Salamander's bonus effect. So yeah, that's pretty good. Next, going to the trap cards. I'm running 3 TG3DX2. So basically you select 3 TG monsters in your grave, shuffle them to the deck, then draw 2. I like to use this to recycle my extra deck monsters. That way I get stuff back into my extra deck and then draw 2. Next, I am running 1 Waking the Dragon, but I think I might take this one out just because it actually never came up. I had it set on the field a couple of times, but it was never destroyed. So unfortunately, it just never came up. Next, running 1 copy of Sonic Stun. So basically, it negates the attack, and then I can special summon a TG monster or a level 4 or lower tuner from my hand or deck. I might cut this one as well, because, again, it never came up, and it's an unsearchable one-of, so I think I'm going to cut this for the future. And the thing I'm going to put in, instead of Waking the Dragon and Sonic Stun, are additional copies of TG Close. I originally wanted to just play 1 of this because it can reset itself from the field. But when I was actually playing it at locals, I realized that it's a little difficult to make it reset itself unless you're banishing one of your own synchros and getting it back with Glaive Blaster's effect. I mean, which you can do during the battle phase, but that means you have to control another synchro. So I think I'm just going to up this up to 3 copies, because it's just a generic negate and destroy as long as you control a machine-type TG monster. So I think I'm going to bump this up to 3, make it a little more powerful in terms of stopping my opponent's plays. So yeah, this is going to go to 3, and these 2 are going bye-bye. Next, moving on to the extra deck, I'm running 2 copies of Trident Launcher. So now that we got the new support in Age of Overlord, Trident Launcher isn't your only way to go. You do have another way to get to your big synchro monsters. Trident Launcher's decent, but you do kind of have to have the right setup for it. So having that alternate combo line is very nice. Running 1 Respro Dragonfly for the old school combo, as well as 2 TG Mighty Striker. This is the new Synchro Tuner. When it's summoned, you add any TG spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And then when it's sent to the field as Synchro material, you get to Foolish Burial a TG, so you're going to use that to dump Metal Skeleton. Next, I'm running 2 Star Guardian. Again, this is kind of for the kind of some of the more older style combos where you're using more of the older monsters, like you go Librarian into Guardian into Recipro, and then into Blade Blaster, Recipro, send Blade Blaster, revive Star Guardian and Librarian, go into either Blade Blaster or Halberd Cannon. So this is good for that, and plus it's literally antinomy as a monster, so that's a really nice callback. I am also playing 1 TG Wonder Magician. It's just another Synchro Tuner that I can go into if I need to. It also has a mandatory spell and trap destruction, so I can clear any problematic cards with that. I use this to out the Crystal Beast Field spell, so that was really good. Next is the main player as far as the alternate combo line goes, and that's going to be TG over Dragonar. So basically, when it's Synchro Summon, you can special summon any number of TG monsters from your graveyard in defense as you want. So basically, and how I ended up using this card a lot is I went for the Trident Launcher combo first, and then during my next turn, I summoned Dragonar, used its effect to revive back my Synchro Tuner and one of my non-tuners, Synchro non-tuners, or I did one of my Synchro non-tuners plus monsters to make the Mighty Striker to go into my other level 12 Synchro. So I used that to get double level 12 guys, and the opponent was just unable to deal with both of them at once. Because then I could banish extra deck stuff and negate summons, so it was just very tough for them to deal with. Next, 1 Power Gladiator and 1 Hyper Librarian. So Power Gladiator, he does do piercing, and when he gets destroyed, he has a mandatory effect to draw a card. Both Over Dragonar and Wonder Magician also have that destruction effect like that, so that is something to keep in mind. Hyper Librarian, we're only running 1 because as of recording in April 2024, it is limited. And honestly, it's probably going to stay that way. So we're currently running 1, but if it ever gets bumped up to 2, then Power Gladiator is going to go bye-bye in order to get that. Next, for the level 10s, I'm running 1 of each. So I got 1 TG Blade Blaster and 1 Shooting Star Dragon TG expansion. So basically, these are just 2 level 10 3300 guys. This one can dodge stuff during either player's turn as a quick effect by banishing a tuner. He banishes himself till the next standby phase. And then, or excuse me, no, that's only during your opponent's turn, I'm sorry. And then when a spell or trap is activated that targets him, you can discard a card to negate it. So it's not terrible, but it's not that great either. But you're mainly using this as a stepping stone in order to get to one of your level 12s. Because when one of your level 12s leaves the field, they revive this guy. So that way you still have a body. This one, so basically it's a target effect negate. And then you can also negate an attack by, the targeting one you negate by banishing a tuner. And then this one is just a once per turn you can negate an attack. And then it can revive itself from the grave by attributing 2 synchros, but that doesn't really come up that often. And then finally, going to the level 12s, we got one Halberd Cannon, the OG, and one Glaive Blaster. So, Halberd Cannon, of course, he has to be summoned using only... he has to be using a tuner synchro and 2 or more non-tuner synchros. And it can only be synchro summoned. And basically, this guy, once per turn, he can negate a summon and destroy it. And then when he leaves the field, he can revive a TG from the grave. This one is, of course, the newer one from Age of Overlord. So this one, as a quick effect, can target a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck and banish it. And this can be used a number of times per turn equal to the number of non-tuner synchros that you used, which in this deck is going to be 2, so you can use it twice per turn. And also, it has a second effect where once per turn, if a monster or monsters is banished face up, you can target one of them, special summon it to your field, ignoring its summoning conditions. So basically what you do is you can activate its effect to banish an extra deck monster, and then activate the other effect to steal it. So I actually used this in one of the games against Branded Chimera. Oh, what was it that I banished? I think it was it was a Titanoclad. Yeah, I banished his Titanoclad, and then resummoned it to my field for extra damage. So yeah, that was really fun. It works even better when you can banish something that's really hard to get out, or something that's really, really big, and then you just steal it from their banish pile. So, yeah, that's really fun. So, yeah, that's going to be it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I'm actually going to be making a few edits to this deck. So I'm going to increase the number of the counter trap, because, like, with Waking the Dragon, spell and trap removal was not as prominent as I thought it would be. And then I'm going to also increase the ratio for Screw Serpent. So I am going to make a couple changes to it to make it better. But overall, the deck did really good. Like, I was very surprised with how well we performed. But, yeah. So, like, subscribe, vote in the locals poll, all that good stuff. And I'll see you next time.